Good afternoon, you're welcome to Fliptv News. I am Christian Chibu. Let's take a look at the top headlines. On Iran, the child must continue court, tells Evans. UK discovers more loot by Abacha. Emefiele should be fired. Former Zamfara State Governor joins the presidential race. And UK bars IPOB. Now business, subscribers reject tariff hike. Foreign news, Ukraine war, Africa will soon be in crisis. Now to sports, Arsenal's coach signs new contract. Let's take a look at the news in detail. The Lagos State Special Offences Court sitting in the Ikeja area has dismissed a no-case submission by one Victor Aduba arraigned alongside kingpin Chukwu Dumeme Onwamadike, popularly known as Evans, for kidnapping. In her ruling delivered on Friday, Justice Oluwatoyin Taiwo held that the state government had established a prima facie case linking the defendant to the crime, which makes it necessary for him to open his defense. Aduba, a dismissed soldier of the Nigerian army, and Evans were arraigned by the Lagos State government on allegations of kidnapping a businessman Silvanus Hamonu and collecting a ransom of $420,000 from his family. They both pleaded not guilty to the charge in his no-case submission application. Counsel to Aduba, Emmanuel Ochai, had argued that the prosecution failed to establish a prima facie case against the defendant. He asked the court to dismiss the charge against his client. The prosecutor, Yusuf Sule, on the spot asked the court to determine whether the evidence adduced by him had sufficiently linked the defendant to the alleged offences. In a ruling on the application on Friday, Justice Taiwo held, "I have carefully considered the submissions of the prosecution and the defence. The court at this stage is not to review evidence of the prosecution, but to see whether the prosecution has enough evidence before the court to warrant the defendant to defend himself. Evidence of the prosecution shows that it has sufficiently proven a prima facie case against the defendant, and the defendant has a case to answer. I hereby dismiss the application of the defense and order that the defendant should open his defense," the judge held. On the Abacha loot, the National Crime Agency in the UK says it has recovered over $23 million loot believed to have been siphoned out of Nigeria in the 1990s by the associates and family of former head of state Sani Abacha. According to a communique issued by the agency on Thursday, the funds form the part of a larger pool of monies identified by the United States Department of Justice as having been misappropriated by Abacha and his allies. The NCA revealed that the funds have now been transferred to the Home Office for onward transmission to the USDOG. It also pursued nearly 7 years of protracted litigation and international negotiation to obtain the recovery order to enforce the US forfeiture order relating to the recovered monies. Asset Denial Senior Manager at the NCA, Billy Beatty, assured of the agency's fight against money laundering activities within the UK. The NCA is committed to ensuring that the UK is not a safe haven for criminals to launder their proceeds of crime, and the civil recovery of assets is a powerful weapon in this fight, Beatty stated. We work closely with the UK and international partners to tackle the threat posed by corruption, which disproportionately impacts the poorest and the most vulnerable members of the society. We are committed to ensuring that those who perpetrate corruption do not benefit from their actions. On Emefiele, the senior advocate of Nigeria, Ebunolu Adegburuwa, SAN, has asked the President, Major General Muhammadu Buhari, retired, to sack the central bank governor, Godwin Emefiele. He also asked the federal government to order Emefiele to refund all the salaries and allowances he had been paid as the CBN governor. The human rights lawyer said this while reacting to reports that Emefiele had picked the presidential expression of interest and nomination forms of the All Progressives Congress. The press had reported that 3 groups reportedly bought APC forms for Emefiele to contest presidency in 2023. This came a few hours after the CBN governor reportedly elected Buhari to inform him of his presidential ambition. Though Emefiele has not publicly declared his intention to contest the presidency, his support groups have flooded the media with promotional messages. In an interview with reporters on Friday, Adegborewa described Emefiele's move as reckless and a mockery of Nigeria's democracy. He said, "I believe that the case of the CBN governor highlights the nature of governance that we have in Nigeria, which is everybody to yourself and no one for all. Things have fallen apart. It is the height of impunity and scandalous for the All Progressives Congress government for allowing him to bastardize his office." On Zamfara State, the former Zamfara State Governor Ahmad Sani Yerima on Friday informed President Muhammadu Buhari of his intention to contest the 2023 presidential election on the platform of the All Progressives Congress. Yerima informed Buhari of his presidential ambition at a meeting in the presidential villa in Abuja. Speaking with journalists after the meeting, the former governor said if elected president, he would address the country's security challenges. He also promised to fight poverty and ignorance of the mind, which according to him, many Nigerians are living with unknowingly. "I'm here this afternoon to inform Mr. President of my intention to participate in the 2023 elections and to contest the office of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I'm going to, inshallah, purchase my forms today and officially declare this afternoon. So I have 3 points as well: to fight insecurity, fight poverty and ignorance," he said. Earlier at a press briefing in Abuja on Thursday, Yerima said he had on 3 occasions since 2006 buried his presidential ambition to support Buhari, and that as the president serves out his tenure in 2023, it is only fitting that he takes a shot at the highest office in the land. He said, "You may recall that in 2006, I declared my interest in contesting for presidency after having served Zamfara State for a period of 8 years." On the UK and IPOB, authorities in the United Kingdom have excluded members of the indigenous people of Biafra and some other secessionists from seeking asylum in their country. It is updated asylum policy published in May and cited by Channels Television. The UK explained that it took the decision as a result of the recent activities of such people as reported in Nigeria. According to Britain, Nigerian authorities have since proscribed IPOB as a terrorist group, while the movement for the actualization of the sovereign state of Biafra (MASOB) has also been banned but not designated the same status as the former. IPOB is proscribed as a terrorist group by the Nigerian government, and members of the group and its paramilitary wing, the Eastern Security Network, created in December 2020, have reportedly committed human rights violations in Nigeria, the document said. MASOB has been banned, but it is not a proscribed terrorist group in Nigeria. It too has reportedly been involved in violent clashes with the authorities. If a person has been involved with IPOB or MASOB or any other Biafran group that incites or uses violence to achieve its aims, decision makers must consider whether one of the exclusion clauses under the Refugee Convention is applicable. Persons who commit human rights violations must not be granted asylum. Now to business. Telecommunication subscribers under the aegis of the National Association of Telecom Subscribers have rejected the planned 40% tariff hike by telecommunication operators, vowing to oppose the telecom's move to introduce a new price regime for data, calls and SMS. The Telecom Consumer Group said it was insensitive for any organization to consider a tariff increase at the current state of the economy. The president of the association, Adeolu Ogunbanjo, stated that the association is against any move by the government to increase prices of the costs of calls, SMS and data. He added, presently about 71 million subscribers cannot make calls. They shouldn't task subscribers. The telcos might have been able to absorb some of the increases they complain about if they have not been losing subscribers. If everything were good, the telcos would have been able to absorb some of these shocks. The SIM NIN policy is largely to blame for the loss in revenue in the telecom industry. A lot of prior losses to the policy are to blame too. We cannot allow the telcos to increase the tariff prices. They shouldn't be thinking of this now. According to them, telcos have been losing revenue since the verification exercise began. They stated this in a response to a 40% proposed hike in telecom service tariff prices in the nation. The president of the association, Ajolu Ogumajo, said if telcos had not been losing revenue since the exercise began, they might have been able to absorb shocks by the recent hike in the diesel prices. Now to foreign news. Africa faces an unprecedented crisis caused by the Russian invasion of Ukraine, particularly with soaring food and fuel prices, United Nations officials said on Friday. The conflict and Western sanctions on Moscow are disrupting supplies of wheat, fertilizer, and other goods, compounding difficulties facing Africa from climate change and the coronavirus pandemic. This is an unprecedented crisis for the continent, UNDP Africa chief economist Raymond Gilpin told a press conference in Geneva. Gilpin, who spoke by video conference from New York, said there were risks from a widespread surge in inflation, particularly in South Africa, Zimbabwe, and Sierra Leone. We are seeing a reduction of GDP growth on the continent. Joe. Gilpin told a press conference in Geneva. Gilpin, who spoke by video conference from New York, said there were risks from a widespread surge in inflation, particularly in South Africa, Zimbabwe, and Sierra Leone. We are seeing a reduction of GDP growth on the continent. Joe.